Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name's Joe. In this video, we will be continuing the career of Kapitan Leutnant Josef Verhext and his U-39, which is a Type 9A U-boat. And I did mess something up. That was that because it's a Type 9 boat, which is a longer range boat, your refit actually has an extra. Your patrol basically takes 2 months instead of 1. So here on the log sheet, at the end of the first video, I had an R here. I erased the R and wrote a P. And then November becomes the refit month. So our second patrol is actually December of 39, not November of 39. So other than that, things are pretty well set up here for our second patrol. So the first thing we will need to do is figure out what our patrol assignment will be. So we will again be rolling here on the U-boat patrol assignment P1. So you can see we are still in 1939, so we will be rolling on this chart right here. I will take my 2d6, and there is a black one, and maybe I should just use black and white, get a little variety in here. We got an 8, and an 8, unsurprisingly, is British Isles, because that's pretty much what everything is. There's one Spanish coast and West African coast are the other two possibilities, but unsurprisingly, we did end up with the British Isles again. Now you can track it on here, but this is really set up for when Germany controls France, because you have a Bay of Biscay transit, which is only the case if you're in port in France. You would hit the Bay of Biscay first and then go, out to head up towards the British Isles. So in our case, we're going to go this way to the transit, and we're going to roll for an encounter, and that's on the E1 chart here. So we'll roll again. We get a 6 this time, and we are in transit, and a 6 is nothing. So then we would move to our second transit zone, which is right here. And we roll again. And we get a 3 this time, which is aircraft. So we do have an encounter now. So when you roll an aircraft encounter, we proceed to the aircraft encounter resolution and flak attack. So we check our A1 aircraft encounter chart. We roll 2d6. We do get a -1 on our roll because we do have a Type 9 U-boat. So we roll 2d6. We get a 7. 6 or more, we take the -1, it makes it a 6. 6 or more, successful crash dive, no air attack. So that's good, because that could get ugly. So that would move us to our first of the British Isles. So now looking at this, I think I played it wrong the first video. If you count here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it looks like here there's actually 6. And that's how I did it before, was 6. So, or even 8 maybe. But I think that's for mines. So we're just going, because that adds up to 8. See, that's what's confusing me. Because you have British Isles MA, and then you would have 2 transit MA, and then 4 British Isles, and then transit again. So I'm going to play it at that we're going to go to the British Isles, and we're going to do 5, because that's what's on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last one is has an asterisk on it. Resupply check, optional. Okay. All right, so we'll continue to roll for an encounter. And now we're in the British Isles, so we would go to 8 and go across, and we get ship. So now we have to roll to find out, first of all, whether it's a day or night. So we roll 1d6, we get a 3, so that is day, which means we will be submerged. Okay, so now we will determine our ship size. So we roll again 1d6, and it's a 3, and that is a small freighter. So we have a solo small freighter, so that is our target. We put this here. And if you watch the first video, this is all going to be old hat. So our next step is, if day, optionally roll 1d6 to switch to night for non-capital ships only. So let's do that. If we roll a 1 to 4 and we got a 3, So if we rolled 1 to 4, we switch to night. So now it's nighttime, and we can attack on the surface. So I didn't do this last time, but we're going to take a crack at shooting at them with our gun and see if we can sink it that way. Select range. Okay, now at short range or close range, we would check for escort detection. This is just ship, so there is no escort. We don't have to check. Then we would select submerged attack or night surface attack. So we're going to do a night surface attack. Now we would assign torpedoes, but we're not going to use torpedoes. We're going to use our gun, which is up off shot here. But we're going to take 2 shots at it with our ammo. We have 5 ammo. So we're going to put 2 ammo there. Let me put my range marker down. Now we would fire. Oops, let me back up a second. I forgot to check what the target is, so let's do that. After that, we'll roll 2 D10s to get a D100 number. We'll use black as the tens digit. And we get a 57, and if we look on here at 57, this is the 5,000 ton, 5,000 ton Empire Barracuda. All right, so the 5,000 ton Empire Barracuda is our target. Okay, so now we can fire, and we use the same, it's actually the same hit chart for torpedoes and the deck gun. We're at close range. If we roll an 8 or less, it's a hit. There are modifiers here. You get a -1 for night or unescorted surface torpedo, but we're not firing torpedoes. So none of these actually apply. It says roll once for each torpedo and or deck gun fired. Second salvo only possible as night surface attack. For this one, second salvo torpedo. Okay. And we don't have to check for duds because none of the deck gun shells will be duds. So we roll 2 dice and we need an 8 or less. We got a 4, that's 1 hit. That's one of our rounds. Now we fire the second one. Now we got a 7, so that is 2 hits, which is enough to sink them if they're both 1 hit. And we are going to sink it, but let's see how many. So here's our attack damage chart, and we have deck gun here. So we're going to get at least 1 damage. There is a -1 for the 105 millimeter deck gun, which is what we have. So we get, basically, I'm just going to, you roll 1 die, and that's going to be a 4. That's a 4. And so it gets modded down to a 3, which is 1 damage. So that's 1 damage with the first one. And a 6 will get modded down to a 5, and 4 or more is still 1 damage with the deck gun. So he has been sunk. We did sink the, what was the name of that ship again? The Empire Barracuda. Yes, the 5,000 ton Empire Barracuda has been sunk by deck gun fire. All right, I'm going to put this on here so we have it in 2 places. That was our first British Isle, so I'll move to the second. Roll again, we get a 7, and a 7 in the British Isles is actually nothing. 7, British Isles, nothing. So we move to the next box. And roll again. And it's a 3. And a 3 in the British Isles is also nothing. A 2 is a capital ship. That would have been interesting. So we have 2 more cracks at it. We got a 9 this time. And guess what? A 9 is also nothing. So the U-39, which, by the way, I looked it up, it was sunk on its first patrol in real life. So we're conducting a patrol or a career with a U-boat that was sunk very early in the war. And we got another 9, and that will do it. So we go to transit now. And we get a 10, and a 10 in transit is nothing. And then we go, well, it says Bay of Biscay, but it's really over here. And we get a 9, and a 9 is also nothing, and we are back in port. So I'll put that there. We are in port. I'll put this one here in port to show that we are in port. And that is the end of the patrol. So a pretty uneventful patrol. We did bag one ship, the Empire Barracuda, a 5,000-ton small freighter. We did not fire a single torpedo. We only fired 2 deck gun ammunition. So I will note that down. And we will spend January on patrol, essentially. That patrol covers 2 months, as I mentioned at the beginning. And then we will spend February of 40 in refit. And our next patrol, which will be the third video, will take place in March of 1940. And likely, because as you can see here, we're still going to be in this first column. So it's still going to be likely the British Isles. We have not drawn a mine laying mission yet, so we may get that. But once we get into April through June, then you see Norway pops in here in a couple of spots, as well as mostly British Isles again. And you still have the oddball chance of getting a West African coast or Spanish coast as well. So that was kind of an uneventful patrol, but the good news is it's a relatively short video. I don't think I screwed anything up. That was pretty uneventful, actually. But yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess, and that's why, assuming I have the time. If you watched my March update, you know that I have a new job. It's cut into my free time a decent amount, but obviously we all need, or most of us at least, need to work. I'm not yet old enough to retire. So the point I was going to make before I started digressing there was that I don't really consider this to be like a full, what I would normally do for a video, because they're relatively short. So my point being that this will, I haven't scheduled everything out yet, and I don't know how much I'll get done, but these videos may appear, sporadically from time to time, alongside something else, or maybe within a day of something else, as opposed to like the 2-day span I typically shoot for, which seemed to fit my schedule pretty good, and hopefully that will continue. But for now, that's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys watching. If you'd like to leave a comment or like, share, or subscribe if you're not a subscriber, that would be awesome and much appreciated. But if not, hopefully you'll still come back and check out either the next installment of this or maybe something else that might strike your fancy down the road. Either way, I appreciate you watching, and I'm going to sign off now. My name's Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.